Good evening, welcome to a Sunday special of Last World Boxing, joined by, this is going to be awkward, isn't it? Daz, I'll go for Darren Ashton first. How you going, Darren? I'll call you Darren.
No problem. Yeah, I'm good, mate, thank you.
No problem. And then we got Daz. How you going, Daz?
All right, mate, all right.
Living the dream. So, great card last night. Obviously, Darren will talk about how he was in attendance. Do you want to give us a little bit of a chat about what the venue is like, Darren, what the atmosphere is like before we launch into the first fight?
Yeah, it was brilliant, mate. Brilliant atmosphere. Obviously, lots of localish fighters on the card. Pretty similar crowd to when Heaney fought Brad Pauls as well at the arena. It's a cracking arena, to be honest. Nice crowd. And it was a brilliant show. Obviously, we're going to talk about some of the fights coming up now. But yeah, really good night. Obviously, I was ringside media accreditation, thanks to you guys. No loved every minute of it. Spoken to and saw lots of fighters, ex-fighters. Brilliant evening, much appreciated.
Yeah, I saw your photos. I mean, who didn't get a photo with Darren? You know,
they all wanted to chat to me, didn't they? I can't help it.
Well, it must be that West Midland charm that you got, Darren. You know.
Yeah, so, straight away they were saying about, oh, you're definitely a Brummie, you are. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on to the first fight quickly. So I'm going to cover this one first. So Cameron Vung wins again. I'll come to you first, Darren, seeing who's in attendance. Just give us your thoughts, because I think this was his toughest fight to date, right?
Yeah, definitely it was. But we all know what like Jeff Afori brings, don't we? He's always game. He brought it again. Some people have criticised the performance. I thought it was, for obviously the opponent changed within a couple of weeks of the fight. I thought he'd done his job. I think the scorecards were a little bit too wide for me. But it's on to the next thing. But I thought Cameron Vong done a decent job. He boxed well. I thought he was actually starting to tire a little bit towards the end as Afori was coming on strong and weren't leaving him alone. He was trying to smother and get in front of him all fight, but I thought he'd come on better towards the end like that. But on to the next thing, I thought his job done. I thought it was a pretty decent fight, and like I say, Jeff Afori's game all night long.
Daz, coming to you. Obviously, they're making a big thing about Cameron Vong, aren't they? They expect him to go up through the levels. He got tested last night with this guy, didn't he?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to point out the obvious. How many fighters fight Jeff Afori in the fifth fight?
Exactly.
Not many.
Of the 10 rounds. None. Kid deserves massive credit for that. And he won. Didn't get a gift, he won. Yeah, they were probably a bit wide, but right man won. But to do that in his fifth fight, listen, I think the change of opponent was an harder opponent than the original one.
Yeah.
I think he deals with Jordan Flynn way easier than he would have dealt. He dealt with Jeff Afori. But
Daz,
now,
I'm a bit sorry, Daz. Am I being ultra critical in saying that he may have emptied his tank a little bit too quickly, Cameron? He looked a little bit tired, didn't he?
Listen, it's his first 10-rounder. It's his first 10-rounder against a kid who's fought for Southern Area title in his previous fight. And, I mean, I've not seen that fight, but by all accounts, was a bit hard done to against a really good kid as well called Louis O'Doherty, who I've seen up close. Jeff Afori is a serious operator. And to fight him in your fifth fight, in your first 10-rounder, is, only problem I see with it is now, what does he do now? Does he drop back down to fight as a bit below Jeff Afori? Or does he carry on at that a little bit above a Jeff Afori? I don't know. I think I'd stick at that. He's going to have to be, I think the matchmaker's going to earn his money with him here. Because I don't think he needs rushing.
Eddie Hearn don't normally take a backward step with you, does he, once he gets to a certain level?
Yeah, I don't think he needs to rush, to be fair. I think, just give him a couple more. Listen, that's going to stand him in good stead, that fight, though. He's, I was quite impressed with him. There's little things he did that you know, he's going to have to iron out. You know, he waited too long.
Yeah, I
Stood
agree with
there
that.
one shot too long. His defense were he were like Philly shelling it a little bit, and it weren't really exactly Mayweather-esque, but that's probably being a bit critical of him. But he'll find his way, I think.
He hasn't even got his man strength yet, Dad, has he?
No, I think he'll find his way, mate. Definitely.
So, Darren, looking at you, how far do you think Von can go on that display last night?
Like Dash said, like to be fighting Jeff Afori, like with fifth fight, it's a big statement, really. I mean, there was a few, like I say, there was a few people at ringside that said like, oh, you know, Von should have stopped him and that. But like you say, it's Jeff Afori. He's no mug.
No.
You know, he's game as anything. Every time he steps in the ring, and it was like you say, it was probably a bigger test than the Jordan Flynn fight. It's hard to tell. But he's definitely going to go a few levels above, obviously, to where he is now. But it's hard to tell. But I think it was a good win for him. Definitely.
I couldn't help, this is to both of you, I couldn't help draw parallels last night between the boxer show last week and the matchroom card this week. I've got to be honest, I've said it time and time again. I thought the matchmaking for the overall show was very good last night. I thought it was a very, very good show.
Yeah, very good, yeah.
I do think, I'll tell you what though, I do think the matchmaker had a bit of a stinker in one fight with Muhammad Ali and Kelvin Mejid. I mean, that was, I mean, listen, Muhammad Ali got a gift for me there.
But the majority of the card was really good, well-matched fights, Daz.
Yeah, yeah, it was, yeah.
Well, speaking of obviously Birmingham and the shows they've done recently, obviously we've got the Heaney Pauls 2 rematch coming up next month, but also Ben Shalom said at ringside after Boxer are going for a card there. I think it was September the 28th, which they're looking for Tyler Denny to headline again.
I think they've got some work to do with his profile, Daz. You know, if you talk about,
he had a lot of support there, though. He did. I mean, I know it's his local show, but he did.
What's it hold?
Sorry,
what does it hold?
The actual arena. I think the actual arena holds about 14,000, but they do cut it a little bit short for the boxing because of obviously the entranceway and things like that. But I think where they'd usually have a concert there, it goes a little bit further along. So I wouldn't like to say how many was there, but it wasn't like nothing like 14,000. You know, it might have been 8, 9, something like that.
And Eddie Hearn's on record is saying, Darren, that it was quite obvious people were leaving after fights, right? Pockets of fans were getting up and going.
I'll be honest, I didn't really notice that too much. Obviously, you see the seats empty a bit during fights, but when I was having a look around the arena when the fights were on, I didn't really notice too much difference from, like say, the second fight of the main card to like the end.
Okay, move on to the next fight then, guys. We're going to cover Emma Dolan next. Now, I'll come to Daz first on this one because Daz, you was very complimentary regarding Emma Dolan after the Nicola Oakwell fight, wasn't you? You said she had levels in her. So, talk to us about this fight. You fancied her going in as well. You said that quite clearly. So, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, listen, she did what she does, and she won. She won fairly comfortable for me. Listen, I don't want to sound like I'm on a bit of a Shannon-hating thing here, but it was the hype train. She's shown nothing. Absolutely nothing. Listen, I'll be straight with you. She's very one-dimensional for me. She fights like she's a knockout puncher, but she doesn't punch hard. She doesn't fight how she, listen, she's got attributes. She's quite athletic, but it's looking for one big shot, and she doesn't carry enough power for that.
I mean, when the cards were read out, Dad, and the first one went to Shannon, I was like, you could hear Carl Greaves in the corner, and you wouldn't have heard it. Carl Greaves was saying that you're letting her back in the fight, So he was conscious of it.
Yeah, listen, any sort of like, one swing from her, judges were going to try and score it, but I will say that them cards for me, not the one that were for Shannon, and probably 97, if they were 97, 93, they should have been given in the Nick fight with Emma, not that one. because I think Emma won that more clearly than she beat Nick.
Yeah,
if I'm honest.
I
Do
agree.
you know what I mean? Listen, I mean, Nick said, you know, listen, she's got long arms and she hits you when you don't think you can get it. But let's be right. When she hit Shannon, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because Shannon Ryan criticised Nick earlier in the week. She said that, Nick didn't know her distance and all this, and I will. Well, you didn't seem to on Saturday night. You know, thing is as well, Nick never looked like getting knocked over and wobbled.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So to me, that performance shows what I know about Emma Dolan, how good she is. So for me, Nick there has lost to a future world champion and has become a better fighter for it.
Does it make that result look better, Daz, with Dolan performing last night in terms of Oatwell's defeat against Emma Dolan?
Because I mean, let's be straight. Nick's fight with Emma, she lost, but it was competitive and close for me. You know, probably 3 rounds. Emma won it by for me, but you know, Nick learned from that. Emma's a world-class operator. They sparred after it as well. They did some sparring after it. And I've said to Carl myself, it's made Nick a better fighter. You know, and thank you for that.
Here's a bit of a cheeky one for a Sunday afternoon, but I'm going to ask it, Daz.
Go on then.
Does that change your mind in terms of Nicola Oatwell maybe operating at Super Feather again?
Super Feather?
Let's try Super Fly. I'm going to be... Would you put her back in that? I know you said she wasn't that weight class before, but on that performance last night, it would suggest that Nicola might be able to hang with some of them at that weight, right?
And Nicola will beat all of them, except, you know, probably Emma would be, you know, I don't think she'd. Listen, I'm not going to. It's hard for me to sit and say, oh, she wouldn't beat Emma because she's improved. But listen, Emma's good. Emma's like deserves bigger fights now. Do you know what I mean?
I'm just wondering whether you change your perspective a little bit.
Oh, listen, if you want to ask me if I think Nicola would beat Shannon Ryan, I think she'd beat her. You know, 7 days a week and twice on a Sunday.
Yeah. Should outpoint her? My prediction should outpoint her.
Mate, I mean, listen, she'd beat most of them. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, you've got Lauren in there. Lauren Parker, because you know she's a friend as well. So I'm not gonna. Yeah. Listen, it's not gonna happen. Let's be fair. No. It's not gonna happen. She's a flyweight. She's got fish to fry at flyweight.
But maybe Nicola will get some more credit as due to on the back of that performance against Dolan.
Well, how can she not? How can she not? I mean, Emma dealt. Listen, I mean, the scorecards were an absolute. I've actually had a conversation with Carl this morning, and I said to him, "This is when that first scorecard was read out." I'm like, "Oh God." Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And he says, "Yeah, me and all." But it was just ridiculous. She won be about 4 rounds for me. She was the boss, and she basically showed what I've been saying all along. She's a one-trick pony, Shannon. She fights the wrong kind of way, like she's a puncher, and she's not. And she's just been first, you know, decent girl, top flight girl. She's lost. I mean,
there's no need to bring Oatwell's name into it, Daz, was there?
No, really? None at all. None at all. It's like saying, listen, she was saying Nick didn't judge her distance. Listen, Emma fought really well that night. So it weren't a factor Nick didn't judge her distance.
Yeah.
Emma did what Emma does and did it well.
Daz, I've got to be honest, the improvement since when she picked that Commonwealth title up to how she performed last night is night and day, right? Emma Dolan.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Listen, she's a world-class fighter.
Yeah.
She's a world-class fighter.
And don't rule Oatwell out at Super Feather. It wasn't a slip of the tongue. She might get up there one day. You never know, Daz, right?
Oh, God. Yeah, well, she were going to fight at Bantam, weren't she? But no, she's a flyweight for the time being.
Coming to Mr. Ashton. So obviously, I might have mentioned it once or twice, but you was there last night. So give us your thoughts from ringside.
Yeah, to be honest, I agree with Daz. I thought Shannon Ryan got found out last night. I thought Emma Dolan fought brilliantly. I feel like Shannon Ryan's okay, sort of like when she's doing the bullying type of thing, but she had Emma Dolan in front of her who wasn't allowing her to do that. And when Shannon Ryan let her hands go, all she had was the counters back straight away. And Emma Dolan, like, you know, for me, she won that by a unanimous decision. And at ringside, when that first scorecard was read out, everyone was saying, like, what's going on here again? What the hell's all that about? But yeah, I'm just glad the right girl won. It was a brilliant performance. And yeah, like you say about Shannon Ryan, like, you know, she'll come again, but she definitely got found out for me. And has she got a plan B next time? That's the thing. And Emma Dolan obviously goes on to bigger and better things.
Do you know the thing is as well? I wasn't worried one bit if Emma got caught either, because Emma's like obviously had a conversation with Nick after their fight and they've sparred, and Emma's like paid Nick a compliment and said, "Listen, you can punch. You know, you've got a punch on you," to Nick. But obviously, Emma's advice was as well, "You're not a super flyweight. You know, you need to be a flyweight."
Yeah.
And then your punch is going to go from being, "Whoa, man, that's a bit of a dig," to having an effect on these flyweights.
Yeah.
So I never, you know, I don't for 1 minute think that Shannon punches anywhere near as hard as Nick. So when Emma did get caught with odd shot, there were no worry. It would just.
Oh yeah, she took him brilliantly.
Yeah,
I actually was saying that to ringside to people. Like, you know, she looks like she's got a chin, and also like you can can say like Shannon Ryan, you know, doesn't hit as hard as like obviously what people thought, but credit to Emma Dolan, she took him well anyway. She didn't look
she's a tough girl, mate. She's a tough girl. Listen,
Emma Dolan's a problem, and she's a problem. She
is, mate. Yeah, she's massive.
Yeah,
she's massive, and listen, and she can punch a little bit as well. When they sparred after the first spar they had after the fight, they sort of set off where they left off, and you know, listen, they were worth watching. And even Emma sparring when she weren't at 100%, she weren't very well. She was, you know, very good, and you know, she's a world-class operator. And I want her to go on and achieve what I think she can. She's a very nice girl as well. Very nice girl.
I thought her counters were very good. Like, soon as Shannon Ryan let her hands go, she had it back straight away. She didn't let her, let her off the hook.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a brilliant thing. She took the last word away from her.
Definitely.
You know, she had the first word with the jab and the last word, you know.
I mean, she had the centre of the ring as well for the majority of the fight, didn't she, Daz? She had the centre of the ring.
Yeah. Listen, Shannon Ryan has been manufactured, right, and built up by Matchroom as to be this, that, and other, right? She's not as good a fighter as Maisie Rose Courtney, mate, I don't think. You know, at least Maisie's got some different levels to her. Do you know what I mean? Shannon is just, she's come from this kickboxing background, and she's trying to, you know, whoever's told her she's got this power, you know, I do not know. But mate, I've heard the stories in sparring. I'm not going to say who, but I know people who have sparred with her, and they've said when, you know, keep her on end at jab for a round and dummy comes out. And to be fair, mate, I'll give her a bit of credit. She kept trying, but she looked deflated.
Yeah, she didn't have a plan B. She
looked like,
ideas.
You know, she had odd little success, but none. I mean, listen, and do you know what? As much as what, like we say, well, at least the right girl won. Things like that first scorecard make me think, why would I want to put my fighters on them shows?
Yeah, I get that.
They're obviously already rounds down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, come on.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
I'll just bring Orkan in. Good evening, Orkan. I think you're on mute, young man. Can't hear you at the minute.
Yeah.
So, what were your thoughts on the Emma Dolan fight, Orkan?
Beforehand, I was worried about the scorecard and that Emma Dolan had to win the fight clearly to get the decision. That was my into the fight that I was worried about. But so I'm not surprised that one judge had it for Shannon Ryan, as Emma was the away fighter. But I feel that Emma won the fight clearly, and I had Emma to win the fight beforehand too. I was worried about the scores before that Emma had to win clearly to get the decision. But Emma was very good, and what I saw from Emma against Nicola, that was the reason why I thought that Emma could win beforehand against Shannon Ryan.
So, what happened with Emma Dolan next? Then I'll come to Daz on this one. If you know, well, got to be looking for European next, or even world title, right?
Well, I mean, Lauren Parker's got the European. So Lauren v Emma would be for British, European, and Commonwealth. I think Lauren's got a mandatory against Stephanie Silver to get our way. Then that fight maybe could happen. But also there's possible world titles. Thing is as well, what thingies me is for, you know, I'd like to think that if Lauren and Emma were to fight for them 3 titles, I'd like to think a big promoter would put her on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'd like to think that, but I don't think Eddie Hearn's going to put that on unless it benefits Shannon Ryan somewhere down the line.
You know, just talk about Shannon Ryan for a minute, Daz. Long way back from that defeat, isn't it?
I'll tell you what else, mate, I want to say as well. I think it's absolutely disgusting that Emma Dolan didn't get an interview after that fight. I think it's absolutely shocking.
Really? I didn't know that.
No, there was no interview.
No.
It's
like his own footage also was always in Shannon Ryan's corner. It only went to Carl Greaves, I think, once or twice in the entire fight as well.
Yeah, listen, if Shannon Ryan had won that fight, there'd have been a 10-minute interview.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what I mean?
Very true.
It's like, listen, give her credit. You know what I mean? She won the fight. Won it easy, won it clearly. Give her a credit.
She's a problem, Dolan. She's a problem.
She is, mate. She is. She's a big problem.
Moving on then, guys, to what I think was fight of the night, wasn't it? You know, Lewis Croker versus Conor Walker. Absolute war. I personally think Conor Walker won, if I'm honest with you. I'll come to Orkan first. Orkan, give us your thoughts on this fight.
Yeah, what a fight. And one of the best fights this year for me. And Conor Walker was absolute amazing last night. And I had him won by 1 round with a point deduction in I can't remember the round, but
round 9 from memory.
Round 9, yeah. And it looks now that Paddy Donovan Lewis Crocker fight in Belfast is maybe not the fight is signed, but Matchroom maybe not choose that one. They could choose a rematch in Dublin instead. When I heard interviews with Eddie Hearn on multiple channels after the fight.
Yeah.
So we have to wait and see. It will be a big show in the autumn in Belfast, but we have to wait to see if it's the rematch or Paddy Donovan.
I'll be honest, I don't think there'll be a rematch when you've got Paddy Donovan.
Listen, if I were Conor Walker and I get that rematch with Lewis Crocker, I will make sure it's over 12.
I don't think it happens, Daz, because I think there's too much money involved. I think obviously,
if there were another 2 rounds in that fight, I tell you, Crocker was on the verge. He was spent.
Yeah.
The reason why I don't think it happens is because you got North versus South Island for one, haven't you? You know, so the commercially, I think it makes sense for Paddy Donovan to fight Croker. But I'll give us your breakdown then, Daz, on the fight.
Oh, I thought Conor Walker were relentless. I mean, his conditioning is absolutely unreal. His chin's as hard as that brick wall behind Aaron. You know, he's a tough kid, and he seems like a really nice kid as well. But he is a tough kid. He's an absolute. Who's going to want to fight him now?
I just scored it out of interest.
I had Conor Walker by a couple.
I did, yeah.
It would have been Conor by 3, apart from the point off. But listen, I think he's, you know, I think he's sort of shown Crocker to be a little bit, have a few vulnerabilities as well. If he doesn't
too big at the weight, Daz. Too big at the weight. Unravels a bit down the stretch. I mean, some of the way he lost his shape, big style down the stretch, didn't he?
Yeah, he got tired. I mean, listen, he hit Conor Walker with some absolute bombs, and Conor Walker was just like, and there was a little thing where I don't know which round it was. Conor Walker got off his stool, looked at him. I've actually recorded it as well on my phone. Conor Walker actually looked at him across the ring and went, "You're fucked."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I thought, yeah, I like that. I think Conor Walker got checked with a bit of disrespect in build up as well. I think that fired him up a bit. I think they were looking past him. But I hope Conor Walker gets some good fights now. I mean, he's a big problem, Conor Walker, for welterweights.
You don't have too many of them fights in your career, though, Daz, do you? You can't get any fights like that, can you?
No, but he seems, you know, you've got to say he was in with a very, very good operator, so he's going to get hit. But you know, he likes to tuck up, doesn't he? He likes to catch and counter. He likes to tuck up. So, but
if I was fighting Lewis Crocker next, you know, my plan would be to drag him late because I couldn't believe how he was unraveling.
Well, do you know, Paddy Donovan? What I was impressed with Paddy Donovan's last fight was he boxed. And he was taking the sting out. And then when he saw that the kid was fading, he stepped on him.
Yeah.
You know, he's not afraid to then stand his ground, Paddy Donovan.
Yeah. That'd be a perfect game plan, wouldn't it, against Crocker, by what we've seen last night.
Yeah.
Coming to you, Mr. Ashton. So give us your breakdown.
Well, I'll cut to the chase quickly as regards the result. The general consensus at ringside was that Conor Walker had won. Including myself. I thought he had as well. It was a pleasure to be ringside for that, to be honest. It was a fantastic fight. Lewis Crocker, I thought would win the fight before. I did say points or a late stoppage, but I didn't think he'd have a tougher night as that. I don't see who the hell's going to stop Conor Walker, to be honest. His chin's granite. But Lewis Crocker, for me, got found out a little bit last night. He was getting hyped up quite a lot. Yeah. Good fight, really good fight, but he was getting hyped up a lot. But I thought he got ragged down the straight. I mean, especially the round where, I think it might have been the last round or round 9, where he's literally looking to the floor and just throwing the wild shots. Yeah, like 5, 6, 7 wild shots, just looking at the floor, just swinging and hitting and hope.
I think he'd have got stopped if it had been a 12-rounder, don't you?
I was just going to say, I think if it went... to me, he was looking out on his feet when the bell went.
He emptied the tank, Hunter. Let's be honest.
He'd emptied the tank, and I do think if he went another couple more rounds, I think he'd have been stopped. As regards next, Hawkenny's right about what Eddie Hearn was saying about they may do the rematch. I agree with you, Carl. I don't think they will. But an interesting point is Sam Gilly was sitting with us at ringside, and when the point deduction was off for Conor Walker, he turned around and he said, "There's no way that would have happened the other way around because he's going to be fighting that guy next." And he pointed at Paddy Donovan. I mean, that's how it goes. Even though Conor Walker is the home fighter, obviously the plans are for Lewis Crocker and Paddy Donovan next. So
I think it was
seems like the odds was very harsh. I mean, I didn't really see at ringside as well. Was there many warnings?
He did, to be fair.
Yeah,
there were a couple, but I think there were harsh warnings. I think there were. You know, Crocker also started complaining a little bit as well. He got hit with what looked like a legitimate left hook to body to me, and he sort of looked at Steve Gray, referee, and Steve Gray then said to Conor Walker, keep him up. And I think that doesn't bode well for me when they start complaining.
It stinks a little bit as well, doesn't it? Regarding the you don't want to go down that rabbit hole, do we? Let's be honest, but it makes you wonder, don't it?
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? Obviously, I was sitting at ringside and I could have a really good view. I kept looking over at Billy Nelson, and if he's honest, he was looking very concerned from probably 7 rounds in. He was looking really concerned for Lewis Crocker, but yeah, I think he got found out a little bit. I mean, if you judge him on that performance, I'd say Paddy Donovan beats him all night long. But it was a brilliant.
I'm not a massive fan of his though, Daz, either. He's got gaps in his game as well. So
yeah, well, it's a very interesting fight. But that fight was a brilliant fight to be ringside for, and like Orkan says, probably one of the best fights this year.
Orkan, coming to you, give us your breakdown.
Yeah, I had like I said first that I had Crocker win by 1 or 2 rounds, and the points deduction in round 9, I would have Conor Walker as the winner with the point deduction.
So quick go around, everybody. Who wins out of Paddy Donovan and Croker on the back of last night's results? I'll come to you first, Daz. Who wins?
I think Paddy Donovan.
What about you, Darren?
Well, I think going on that performance, you probably have to say Paddy Donovan, but I'm not going to sit on the fence. I'll go Paddy Donovan.
Orkan, who do you think wins?
I think Paddy Donovan wins, and and I hope that fight now will happen. That the fight is signed in maybe November time in Belfast, and I would go to Belfast for that fight if I could find a good price for flights and hotel.
Okay, moving on to the final fight of the night, main event. Denny was victorious against Cash. I'll probably come to Daz first on this one, around a bit about Cash's conditioning as well. So, Daz, give us your thoughts on this fight, and end it by telling us what you think happens next for Felix Cash.
Listen, I'm a big fan of Felix Cash. You know, I like Tyler Denny as well. Don't get me wrong. Felix Cash, very good fighter, very, very talented. But I think last night we showed that if you don't live the life, you're going to get caught out. He looked very, very rusty. His timing was off. Looked very, very rusty. And, you know, he had a little spell where he started to use his skill. You know, he was baiting Tyler into doing stuff, and he had success, and that was good. I think he's fortunate that Tyler doesn't carry a tremendous amount of power.
Yeah.
You know, listen, I think that would have probably carried on all night, bar the cut. I think it would have carried on. Felix might have had his moments. You know, he might have turned it around. Who knows? But the correct man won that. You know, he looked very. I can't even say that Felix struggled with southpaw stands, because I don't think he did, because when even in first round, when Tyler was like using that southpaw stance, a couple of occasions Felix took that step round and dug to body, and that's what he needed to do. But he didn't do it enough. It's like he knew he wanted to do it, and while he was thinking about doing it, Tyler was landing, and it would just listen. Inactivity, 18-month out at ring, not and not that, but not living the life as well. You know, be all accounts. You know, partying and stuff. Listen, and it's a criminal shame as well, because he's a super talent. When he beat Denzel Bentley, it was like, whoa. I don't know, mate. He's got a long road back.
Yeah, and can he be? I mean, I'm just throwing this out there. Has he got the motivation to get back to where he was as well?
That's
what I would question.
We'll see, won't we?
I'm not sure any tune-up fights would have helped him, Daz. You know.
Well, I think they would have done, mate, because I think in that ring, you're going to shake a bit of rust off. You're going to get your time in. But, I mean, it's probably not going to make a massive amount of difference. Just probably a little bit. But, yeah.
I think he needs to have a look in the mirror and decides if he still wants it, Daz.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. He needs to decide whether he wants to, be in boxing for just to be a boxer or to achieve what his talent's capable of. But he's got to live the life, hasn't he? And it sort of made me think that when he left Tony Sims, he sort of relocated to Adam Booth. And tough fight for your first fight back after 18 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Under a new trainer as well. You've got to give yourself a bit of a chance, haven't you? So, one tune-up fight, 2 little tune-up fights. I don't think could have done him any harm. See, now he's going to be, his confidence is, he's going to be in that thingy today, isn't he? He's going to be, can I be bothered with it?
Yeah.
Which is a shame. But, pleased for Tyler Denny. Very pleased for Tyler Denny. I do think that
he's limited though, isn't he?
Well, listen, I mean, I'm not going to put a dampener on it, but I do think that they're all quite a bit behind Hamza Sheeraz, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, fully agree. Orkan, coming to you. What were your thoughts on the fight?
I had Denny winning beforehand. I thought that Cash had been out too long, and it looks like it was like that he had been out too long. And for me, Denny won the fight pretty clearly. I had him by a couple of rounds when the cut after clash of heads happened. So for me, Denny, I have met Tyler Denny a few times at fight nights. I was at Tyler Denny a year ago in Birmingham. And I met him before the fight at a restaurant at the Resort World, and then I have met him a few times at ringside too at the boxer shows. He's a really nice guy, and I'm very happy for Tyler Denny that he has turned around his career like this.
Okay. I actually think he was a bit hard done to having to go at scorecards as well, because I think that cut was caused by a punch on eyelid.
Yeah, there's some confusion on the does.
I thought it was.
Yeah. I think it was there was up close and the Reds was like in a bit, but they weren't touching, and it was a little.
I think Ben Shalom was asking the question why we're going to the scorecards.
It looked like it was a left hand that caused it. But listen. Right, man.
And the aftermath after the fight is that Denny is supposed to be back on September 28th in Birmingham on a boxer show.
That's true, yeah.
Okay, coming to the fanboy. If people haven't seen Daz's video,
I'm a fanboy too. So.
Have a look at it where he's shouting, "Well done, bit fanboy." Say you're in. Remember, you're in the media bit now, Daz. You're in the media bit. All right.
Yeah, so, well, got to show your local roots, ain't you?
Well, I watched it, I thought, fanboy, but yeah, we can work on it, Daz. Don't worry about that. So, give us your breakdown, fella.
I actually think Felix Cash should have definitely had a couple of warm-up fights before this. I think it was the wrong fight after 18, 19 months out of the ring to come back to. Tyler Denny's been on a great winning streak. He's no mug. We know, like you say, about the sort of levels, but he's got his confidence. He's fighting really well, and then Felix Cash has all that time out and wants to come out. And I just thought he looked flat. Well, I say he looks flat. I thought he give it a go pretty early on, but ran out of steam pretty quickly. You could tell he started like when he was going back to the corner each round. He started with a standing up, walking around like, oh, I've got loads of energy. 3-4 rounds in, that suddenly stopped. And I do agree with Daz about if Tyler Denny had the punch power, I think he could have stopped Felix Cash. But I think as the fight went on, if it had carried on, I think the corner might have pulled Felix Cash out in the end. I'm not saying Tyler Denny would have knocked him out or anything, but I think the corner might have pulled Felix Cash out.
I know I'm quite harsh on him, Daz. I know I'm quite harsh on Denny, but the one thing I would say is he wasn't meant to win that European title, was it? Let's have it right, and he won it, and he was 15-2 at that time, I think he was, and that don't normally happen these days in boxing. So I'll give him some props for that. But I do wonder how far he goes, Daz, to be honest.
Well, obviously, there's it's where you go. I mean, it's a step backwards, but what a fight him and Nathan Heaney would be for a crowd, with the local roots.
A lot of dough.
Exactly that. Yeah, that'd be the money fight, and you've got the local roots with both. Put it in the Midlands, and I feel it will stack the undercard. But it just depends where he wants to go now. I mean, like we say, he's been on a right winning streak now. But Hawkan is right about the September 28th with Tyler Denny headlining. It's open to who he fights next. But Felix Cash, I don't know how he can get back to where he thinks he should be now with the lifestyle that he's been living and the inactivity. And it, like Daz said, he'll probably be very flat today. I don't know where he goes. Eddie Earning said it's a long road back, but is he determined enough to fight that long road back to where he wants to get to?
And I know fighters normally look dejected leaving the ring, obviously, if they suffered defeat, but he really looked dejected.
He did. He walked, I thought that. I thought exactly that when he walked past. He looked totally deflated. And that's the thing. Look, with Felix Cash, obviously, we know the history of, he struggled with mental health problems and that, and he's not going to be feeling great after that. And it's just, it all comes down to how determined he is to get back where he wants to get back to. But he's got to live the lifestyle. That's the big question.
He also, to me, looked very distracted in that ring while the fight went off. I mean, I think
he kept looking at the crowd a lot.
Yeah, and he was. I think he engaged with Denny's corner a little bit as well.
Mm.
I think there was a thing where Denny landed a good shot, and I think it was Errol Johnson in his corner. I think, and he shouted like, "Yeah!" And I think Felix sort of, acknowledged that, which I don't like to see, to be fair. But no, credit to Tyler. Seems like a really nice guy as well.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, we go on about levels, about where he can get to, and that. When you look at the level he's at, he's not bad at all. He's got very good. His skill is quite good.
I think at highest level, I think it's just like a power. Probably.
I was just going to say that. That's the thing. Mainly, he's sort of lacking. I mean, he hit Felix Cash before he wobbled him with that shot a few times, and around the ringside area, a lot of people are saying the one thing that Tyler Denny lacks is the power. And when he was landing on Felix Cash early on, if he had the power, you was thinking he'd probably stop him here quite early on.
The only challenge is, though, Daz, as you know, as you move up the levels, one thing you need is power, right? In the majority of cases.
Yeah, unless you're
really
skilled.
Yeah, well, to be fair, he's probably not that, is it? Without being, I don't be too harsh on him. So,
boxer and Ben Shalom and Tyler Denny wants the Chris Eubank fight next.
Now,
well, that's a big money fight as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to cost a pretty penny though to get Eubank into that ring, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, the thing is as well, they won't go the Midlands for that, will they?
No,
London. They'll go somewhere else.
Brighton, London.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So that brings us to the final topic. There is one more thing I'd like to talk to Darren about. Darren, any update on Nicola Oatwell when we can expect her out next, or any update you can give us?
Possibly September.
Sorry to put you on the spot. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, you're all right. Possibly September. Couple well, I think there's been 3 things mentioned. One from a big promoter, one from another big promoter. So yeah, we'll just see what happens. But she's just staying in gym, working on stuff, working on some new things that I feel that can add to her. Yeah, ready to go.
She put a post out on Twitter, obviously supporting Emma Dolan yesterday morning. She must watch them fights and think I want a piece of that. You know,
well, she's she's become good friends with Emma. They become good friends with each other. When they listen, after the fight, they were chatting like friends, and then when they were sparring, they were sat.
When I say a piece of that, Dad, I mean the platform, not the fighter, obviously. I mean the big event, chance to jump on the platform.
Yeah, listen, I think Maisie Rose and Chloe Watson is going to happen. I think October. So I've heard. I'm not 100%.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
But listen, I'd happily winner of that British, Commonwealth, European title. I think she beat both of them.
Just a tick over between now and then, Daz. Just a tick over because she can't sit still till after that fight, can she?
No. If she fights in September and they fight in October, you're probably talking January.
Yeah.
But ideally, I'd like to get her out a bit before, but she's just using this time to work on stuff. To be fair, because never for a million years is she the finished article. And look what she's achieved, and she's not the finished article.
Yeah.
That's what we have to take a step back and say. When she first come to me, at tying quite a few things out, and gradually we've done that. She's a far better fighter than she was, but she's still got a lot of things to unlock. So
just give me a little sneak peek behind the curtain, Daz. So when you say there's probably 3 options on the table, is it better for you sooner rather than later that you know which one opponent she can be fighting so you can put the game plan together? I'd imagine you need or is it just a case of we'll keep working and worry about that later?
Yeah, it's just basically it's just probably that. Just need to keep doing what we're doing. Fitness is always at a good level. Listen, there's obviously there's a change in strategy now with her training as well. She's in 10-round fights. Listen, if she has a 6-rounder as a little check off, then fair enough. But the main fights are going to be over 10 rounds now. So she doesn't need to stay at that 10-round fit because she's going to burn out. She's going to peak. So she needs to lose a little bit of fitness so she can peak at right time. So it's a case of just tailoring her training. Listen, just calm down on thinking. We're doing a lot more technical stuff. And listen, she's working on some little attributes that she's picking up really well that are going to be the difference between Commonwealth level and world level. And close fights on scorecards, judges scoring cheap points and judges scoring it a shutout for Nick. And she's working with one of the best in the world at the minute on that style of doing things. So, and it's very, very good, very exciting.
Fingers crossed then we get some fight news soon then, Dad. I know you don't get involved on that side of it, to be honest.
That's of these 3 options is outside the UK, some of them.
Don't push him on it, Orkan. Don't push him on it.
No, we're not going over to see Dina, don't worry. No, Dina's a bit too big to be fair.
I can take it after the show. My question.
Yeah, you're fine. I can.
Okay. I wonder if Alexis Kubici would be a fight that you would like.
Well, funnily enough, that's something I mentioned about 2 weeks ago. Because Alexis she was the Commonwealth flyweight champion. She gave it up to fight in a IBF eliminator, I believe. I think she lost that. She's had one win since. I think she's got quite a big promoter in Canada as well.
Yeah, she has.
Yeah, is she promoted by the same guy that Beterbiev's promoted by, I think?
Yes, it's I can't remember. It's they have a big shows in Canada.
Yeah, he's a big time promoter in Canada. I mean, I think he's Beterbiev's promoter. I think he promoted David Lemieux as well.
Right.
So
yeah.
Listen, if we get a call from them and it makes sense, then yeah.
I think it could be Camille Estefan who's the promoter.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, listen, if that's an option, it's an option.
So how's it work then, Daz? Does the manager put options on the table and you agree as a team? Is that how it works?
Yeah, just like basically says what can sort of be achieved, but like where Alexis Kubicki's concerned, if her promoter turns around and says, look, and puts her forward to Commonwealth Council, they'll obviously approve her being a former champion. And then obviously he's going to put it on his show. So,
and then it's all about the dough.
Of course it is, yeah. And listen, she's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. She's only a young girl as well. I think she's only about 20. She's a decent fighter, but it's a fight that Nick could win. So
that's one for me, then, Daz, is if you had to put your last pound on it, when do you think you'll be announcing the next fight? We're not talking names or anything. Just when do you reckon we'll hear?
Give me a month.
A month. So
give me a month and I might have some news.
Late July, maybe August, you reckon?
Yeah, give me a month and I might have some news.
Okay, well on that bombshell, we'll finish it there. Okay, so Daz, thank you very much for joining Young Man on Sunday afternoon, much appreciated. Darren Ashton, glad you enjoyed the fight last night.
Cheers, mate.
Hopefully many more to come where you can represent Last Bell Boxing.
Nice one.
Orkan, thank you for joining from Sweden, always appreciated.
Thank you.
This has been Last Bell Boxing, sponsored by LW Liftings and SC Travel. We'll be back again on a normal slot Thursday, 7 p.m. Until then, have a good week, everybody. Take care.